Hi there, this is Kalyan from Black Box Tech. Today I'm going to discuss about Angular Universal, which the nickname is sometimes called by different peoples or Angular SSR or server-side rendering. So what is Angular server-side rendering? So as you know, uh, you already used Angular client-side rendering using Angular CLI. Basically, server-side rendering will help you to render your application from server. And when you install or generate a project using Angular CLI, it's generate, and when you run into the browser, actually browser takes care of everything. But there are some problems. So when it comes to SEO or search engine optimizations, Google don't know actually what you are, what need to crawl, or because it's an Ajax website. So if you remember in the previous generation, when you create an Ajax based application, it's generally there are some difficulty crawling your site by Google. So mitigate that issue, actually Angular comes up with Angular server-side rendering technology, where it's completely compile your application or generate your complete HTML or every fragment as a string in the server, and it then renders from the server. So there are two times bootstrap, one is from server and another is from client, and thus it makes your application specially available to the different crawlers and make its search engine optimization application. And also it is really helpful, it's actually better performance you will get by using Angular server-side rendering. So let's get started. Let's start by creating an Angular CLI application. To do that, you need Angular CLI installed in your system. I am assuming that you already have that. If not, you can install it quickly by running this command npm install and then Angular CLI, and you need to install it globally. I already installed that in my system, so I'm not going to install it again. So now I'm just changing my directory to desktop, and using this command engine new provide a project name, you can generate an Angular CLI application. It will prompt you for few of the questions. You can answer as per your choice, and it will take some moment to generate this completed application. Once it completes, I will just open this project inside Visual Studio Code. To convert this Angular CLI client-side application to an Angular server-side rendering project, you need to create few of the files, as well as you need to update few existing files. So to save some time, I'm going to use another tool which called Angular Console. It will help you to generate the necessary files except few one which you can create by your own. So for an example, within this application you can actually just show your existing application. It will automatically load it, and then by selecting this you can select the universal application. Now it will ask few of the questions. So the name of the project you have given as SSR, and then all of the details will be same. Now click generate. Once it's done, close it. Now let's see what all things has been updated and created. So you can see it modifies the package.json. Let's see what is added. So it's added Angular HTTP. It should be already there. Not sure why it's added again. The second thing it's added is the platform server, which is a very important module for Angular Universal. Next, it's also modified the angular.json, and it's added this server block. So what is that? So it's saying the builder, to build your application it will use Angular dev kit, and the output of your server rendered file will be inside this SSR server. So you can actually change this name as per your test. So I want my server project or files, rendered files will be inside dist and inside a folder called server. The main file it is pointing to source main.server.ts, and also tsconfig it already generated a file called tsconfig server.json which inside the source directory. And also the configuration it is same as the client side application, like it will replace your environment.ts with whatever you have added in environment.production.ts when you run this as production. Now let's check what is inside your client side application. So this is your client side application. So as an output path it is saying like it will generate your client side build application inside this directory and inside SSR, but I want to be name as browser. You can give it a name anything we want. Let's save the page. Now go inside source directory. I can see it's added a new file called tsconfig server.json. It generally extends your existing tsconfig app.json, and also in compiler option it's added an entry module of app.server module which is newly get added inside your app directory. So this module is saying it is as an entry module for Angular compiler option. Also it is updated your main server.ts. I'm sorry, this has been created newly, main server.ts. You have already main.ts, and in main.ts what is the update they had? It's actually wrapped your bootstrap module bootstrap inside this add event listener, and whenever your DOM content is loaded, it will trigger your client side bootstrap. It also creates this app server module.ts. So what we are seeing, and it will bootstrap your app component, and it's a general ng module. All the necessary imports are already there. It also import the server module from the platform browser. I think pretty much that's it. And then what still you need? So first let's install few of the required modules which has not been installed by Angular console. So one of them are Express Engine, because in the server you'll going to use Express Engine to take your factory file, which is like already compiled, and then send that as a string to your client side, and also your client side application will bootstrap and use that particular server rendered file. So let's install few of the modules and universal, and then Express Engine. I assume in your application you are going to use lazy loading module. So if yes, then also you need another module to be installed called module map ng factory loader. So let's install that as well. So now our application is almost ready. But what additional thing is required is a server which actually do all these things on the server side rendering. Currently, our application is already capable of rendering the server module as well as the client module, because we already did the configuration in the Angular JSON. So now we need a server, as well as whatever the build produce is nothing but a factory, which also need to be compiled as a JS, which uh, the server.ts file, which is for server, will create. That also need to compile as a JS. For that we need a webpack file as well. So let's create that. All of these tutorial files is available in my GitHub repository. We'll add in the section. You can actually download from the video itself in the link. I'll mention the link. So let's now just first create that file. You can simply copy that from my repo. The first file called webpack server config.ts. Let's just copy that. I'll go through one by one. Here I'm saying we need the path module, also webpack, and then what we are saying, the entry point will be server.ts, which we will be going to create right now. And then we are saying the target is node, and it should resolve the ts and js file. For optimization, we are saying don't minimize our file, and the output will be inside this folder, and the file name will be the same as whatever the entry point name is. And in the module block, we are defining, like, for ts file, use ts loader as a loader. And also you can see in the plugin section, we have defined some thing which actually mitigate the issue. Like whenever you run uh, this project, the server.js will include all the dependency from node module itself. So inside server, when you deploy, there is no need to do any npm install, because your server.js is a complete file which will hold all the required dependency inside it. So sometimes it's provide you some of the critical warnings, and this block is for that. Now let's create the server.ts file. For the time sake, I will again copy it from my repository. So what we have added here, so we have imported few of the module, like we already installed ng express engine, which we have importing here. So for now, let's comment out this part. I will show you what is the difference or what is the purpose of using that. Now we are installing express. Also, this server ng module, which will be created upon building your server project, we are making this as a dependency. We are also importing few of the required modules. Also, we are importing provider module map. As I said, if you are using lazy loading, then this is required. Now we are saying the port our application or the server will going to use as, take it from process.environment. If it's not available, you can, it will fall back to the default of the this hard-coded value. This part of the code basically to provide the support of window in your application, because as you know, in server there is nothing called window. So in few cases where you used window in the client side, you are creating some object or you are storing something, so for that if you use window, then you might get lots of error in your server logs, like window is undefined. To mitigate that, you can use that part. Now we are actually setting the express, and then what we are using the express engine to bootstrap our server module ng factory, which will be getting generated once you build the application. Also, this is very important part. If you want some value or some additional values you need to pass to your application, this is very, you can think about a server-side services. I can give you an example. If your application have some server-side properties or some environment variable, from that environment variable You can pull up those values using process.json, process.environment.particular key, and then pass that value to your application using this provider. In future lecture, I will try to provide some very good example of this. But for now, just understand you can use this to pass any information to your application. Next thing, we are defining the static, how our server will know where our static asset is there. Also, I have added some expiry for better caching. Now here we are saying whatever the request comes into your server, then as a response just provide the index.html, but uh, it is actually not a better solution, because what we are saying, whatever the route or request comes in our application, always send to index.html. But in case you have other route in your project, for an example, you have created device detection wherein there is a route called uh, device, which will return your device detection like this mobile, browser, or whatever things, that will not work. So if you hit like your application slash device type, it will take you to index.html, which is not correct. It should return a JSON. So if you use this while character star, that means any request will take you to index.html. The better solution would be, if you have routes in your project, you can create a new file called route.ts, and that routes, basically you can import inside this project and then loop through those route and pass that routes information here. So what we are saying in that case, like whatever routes, only for those route return index.html. In the future lecture, I will also going to provide that particular information, how to do that. Now this is basically the complete server.ts file. Now the next important thing is, in package.json, when we generated the project, it had few basic scripts, but to render your application, we need some additional script or additional steps. So again, I will go to my repo and open the package.json. I have already added few of the commands. I will go through one by one for that as well. So first, what we are saying here. So if you see these things, build client and server bundles. Here we are saying ng build. So ng build is, to build your client side application, and with prod we are saying build is as a production level. So it will minimize, create factory and all these things. And also once that is done with this and next we are saying to run demo server production. So we need to change this demo to SSR because our application name is SSR. So you need to replace it for whatever the project name you have added. So it will go to SSR, then server production. If you see this Angular JSON, what we are seeing here, it will do SSR, then server and production. So this will build your client side as well as server side, both application, and create app server module ng factory for you inside the disk folder, or it's in a hidden folder actually. Now what we are saying, the next step is this webpack server thing. So what we'll do, so it is actually we are calling webpack, and as a configuration we are passing this webpack config server config.ts. It will take your server.ts and create a server.js file inside your disk. So now if we add these two things and create a new script, so what it will do, npm run build client side server, and also that means it will run these both things. And once that is built and complete, then we can actually create another one to run our application. To run our application as a basic node application, what we can do, node inside disk there is a server.js which will be automatically generated. We can trigger that. It will run your server on port 8000. And again, to make it more simple, we can club together these two scripts and create a single one. And what we are saying, npm run build ssr, and once it's done, then run the server again. So now let's try to start the application and let's see what all issues we face. So now it's asking like webpack must be installed. Do you want to install webpack CLI? Just pass this. This is for one time. The next time I don't think it will ask again. Or you can install webpack CLI globally by running npm install webpack-cli-g. Yes, there are few issues which we need to resolve before running this application. Let's see what is that. So first thing, it's saying it's not it's trying to find JS file wherever we have created TS file. My bad. So let's change it to JS. Let's start the application again. Another error came. So as a loader, we have added TS loader, but we forget to install that. So let's install that. npm install, then ts loader, and this time I will make these as a dep dependency. So set dep. Let's start the application again. There is another error. So inside Dominoes, we have used notepage, which has not been installed. We need to install that again. Let's try to start it again. Hope this time there should not be any issue. Yes, the application has been started. So let's open this here. Yes, without any issue, our application has been started, and we can see the page is rendered through server by just view page source, and you can see the script, the all thing hidden inside the app router is available. So you can see this app root, and all the things inside app root is also available in the source view. But if it's a client-side application, you should only see this app root tag, and inside there this is nothing, like a simple Ajax application wherein when you inspect element you can see like it's been injected, but in actual when Google or other crawler will try to crawl, actually it's not there because it's in runtime, it's injected into your DOM. But in server rendered application, whatever is rendered from the server, the whole fragment or the HTML is available as a view source, like the other server-side applications like PHP, JSP, all these things. So you can see it's correctly rendered. Now, the next thing, one additional point of improvement we can measure here in the network, like the application is already fast, very fast. Like in a client-side application, you can see uh, the delay, but in server-side application, it's pretty fast. Just refresh, you can see already is coming very fast. You can disable the cache and see it's taking all the values in MS. So if you see what all XHR or JS file it's loading, so three files: runtime, polyfill, main, and also a CSS file which is 294 bytes. And the JS files, the maximum file size here is 262 KB for main.js. So you know, whenever you do a bigger application during the development, it will slowly grow your main.js file. Right now, there is very minimal code inside, still is 262 KB. We can do a little thing to make it very compact, or you can actually compress this file size so that our application will load much faster than this situation. For this, if you remember, I have previously commented out one section in server.ts file, that is this compression. This is another module available which will enable your application inside the server to make it zzip. So it will generally zzip all your JS, CSS which is loaded through your application. So let's import that and then also enable this middleware. We need to install that. So npm install compression. Start the application again. So the server started. Let's go to that page again. So now load the page again. So as you can see, the main JS file size now become 71 KB only. So it's almost half or more than that reduction in file size when we enable compression in the node server, which is very useful in this case. Or a application which is very large enterprise grade application, we should enable zip completion at least or broadly based compression. And that's pretty much it for today. I hope you like my tutorial, and if you did, then please don't forget to like and subscribe. And also don't forget to ring the bell so whenever I upload a new video, you will get notified. Thanks a lot for watching. Thank you.